Hi all, thanks for dropping in to the very first video for the channel, GravityRabbit's SleepyEepy's kind of ramble. I'll work on the title and the naming, but yeah, this is an idea that I've had for over 8 years now, and where it came from was, 8 years ago I was going through a really hard time. I had been diagnosed with cancer and doing fine now. But it was a really aggressive treatment. As grateful as I am that I was able to get treatment, it was very, very hard. And it's interesting because it wasn't the cancer that made me feel so bad, it was the treatment. And during that time, I was learning a lot about my limits and experiencing things that I had never experienced before. I definitely experienced hard things. This was just a very different kind of hard. And I remember there were some really long nights, even though I had a good, kind of a tribe of people that were really there for me during all of it. Obviously, they can only shoulder so much. Now, they shouldered a lot, and I'm grateful. But they couldn't be in my body and feel the things I was feeling, think the things I was thinking, experiencing the physical things and side effects that I was experiencing. So it was just a really big paradigm shift. Like, I think of my life now in terms of, well, before I had cancer and went through treatment, and after or since, and kind of define things that way. And one of the things that I learned was that I did not have a really good tool belt for coping with everything that I was going through. And so I had to learn the hard way. So one of those things that I remember seeking out or thinking that would really help me is, honestly, if I could just kind of take my mind off of things, just either avoidance or distraction, whatever you want to call it. And so one of the things that I did, again, it was just like, there was just this relentless constancy of sensations going on. There was just no relief from it, no reprieve from it, no way to hide from it. Even in sleep, I feel like my body was aware of everything that it was going through. It was just really traumatic, to be honest. And so there were a couple of times where, actually more than a couple of times, where I remember it being maybe like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I really just needed to hear somebody's voice, a friendly voice, someone to tell me that it would be okay, or just to distract me somehow from where I was. And I was just really sensitive at the time. So if I tried to listen to kind of the ambient weather sounds, sometimes that was really nice, especially the thunderstorms. I do like that. There were times I remember trying to do like guided meditation or meditative content, and I can't explain it. It just was not doing the thing that I needed. I even remember being so desperate that I tried to Google like 800 numbers or hotlines in Europe, because being 2 or 3 in the morning here, I knew somebody would be awake over there. Can't remember if I actually tried to dial something and just didn't reach anybody. I'm not even sure I 100% know how to dial internationally. Like I said, I did have friends, but they were already doing so much and they had their own lives too. So it was just this feeling of, they never made me feel like a burden, and I didn't feel like a burden with them, but I also just know it was a lot. So expecting that they would be available at 3 in the morning. Yeah, I just needed to figure things out on my own. And so I would listen to audiobooks, which there are some great ones. There are some good podcasts. And again, it just wasn't what I really needed. It didn't fill that hole that I was trying to. And I have some comfort shows or even TV shows that I would watch that I could put on that were kind of cozy and reliable, but I also didn't want to watch anything and just being overstimulated. And so the kind of content I was looking for was something like this. Just somebody who seemed relatable, who seemed sincere, talking about anything, to be honest. The audiobooks are great. It's just, it takes effort to, try to lock in for the 13, 14 hours it might take. Not that I did listen to them sometimes, but again, this was just grasping just desperately at something kind of like those very like 90s DJs or maybe early 2000s. You'd be driving late at night and a familiar voice would come on at 11, and that's what it was. It was like that radio type content. Nothing with jump scares, nothing with drama, nothing with anything to wind me up, just something to listen to say hi. How are you guys doing out there? And let me tell you something I was thinking about. I was thinking about one of my favorite board games. I was thinking about rugby. I was thinking about some great food trucks that I'd want to go try if I ever visited Taiwan. Or even just talk about nothing. Somebody would say something and my mind would start running away with it. Just thinking about these conversations and just being curious. So anyway, since I didn't really find it, and not that it's not out there, it's just that I didn't find it, at some point I just had a thought of, well, why don't I make it? Even if no one else listens to this, it's something I could listen to, kind of step outside of my own body and come back and listen to this. It's something that my friends or family could listen to. I mean, nothing morbid, but if I weren't here, after going through all that experience, if I weren't here, maybe it's something they could listen to remember me by. But also, it could just be something that my friends can listen to now. So, this isn't a channel where I'm necessarily thinking it'll have a huge audience or anything. It just is putting something out there that I needed several years ago, that I still need when I get anxious or have a panic attack or I'm just having a hard time sleeping. And thinking that somewhere out in the world of billions, there might be one or two people who need this too. And that's success. That's how I'll choose to define success. So yeah, this is just going to be me picking up the mic or putting on a mic here. I'm just using my phone for this. I don't know how to edit, really. I mean, I think I do know how to edit chunks out of some videos. I'm not very good at it. I don't know that this will be heavily edited. The only thing I think I would take out is if something accidentally dropped or a loud sound happened, because I want 0 jump scares. And like I said, the other times I was trying to record this before. I recorded this several times, and either one, it was way too quiet, I don't know if I just was sitting too far back from the mic or something wasn't working, but I was afraid that if you turned it up to listen to it, that if an ad came on or the next video played in a playlist, then that would startle you. And being startled is one of my least favorite feelings. I think another couple times I thought I was recording and it recorded something, it just wasn't any sound. So there are these videos that are like 50 minutes long that had absolutely nothing. Another time I recorded, but the video or the recording ended up way too big for some reason. Like if I do it on my phone, it's around 50 megabytes. But if I do it on my computer through a mic, it's 10 times that. Which I know you can upload things that size. I just haven't figured out how to do that, how to put video to it. But anyway, so all that to say, that's what this channel is just going to be, completely random. I'll have a thought during the week or during the day. I'll pick up a mic and start talking about it. Some of it's outlined as in, oh, I think it'd be fun to talk about K-pop, and it's been around for 30 something years, and to tell you my experience with it. Talking about maybe doing a little world building while things are hard or weird, might as well build our own world. I think I'd talk about what I like so much about British TV or K-dramas. I could talk about rugby, not at great length. I just love it, but I don't know as much about it as I would, let's just say, American football. I could even read to you guys in espanol. There's a lot of public domain books, I'm sure, but I think I have a copy of, no, I did get a copy of Don Quixote in Spanish. I'm not great at reading. I used to speak way more fluently after studying it in school and using it every day. I haven't studied it in 10 years. But again, sometimes all I wanted was just a voice that didn't need to say anything, that I really understood 100% of the time. So maybe we'll do that. I think there will be times where I just want to cook something so that you guys just keep me company while I cook and prepare something, and I just kind of chatter away. So it kind of feels like either you're on the phone listening to me while I'm talking through that, and there's no expectations of you to talk back or say anything, and you can just kind of sit there and listen. I'll do my best to not make anything too loud. Like I don't like sharp, loud noises, and so I don't want to do that to you guys either. Sometimes I will just maybe read a comment, and if there's a topic that you think of, just throw it out there. It could be anything. I think I'm almost 100% certain that I don't want to talk about anything that's super triggering. I think as I put content out there and as I learn what hits and what resonates and what doesn't, I want to refine what I put out there. Things like politics and policies and triggering things like really hard experiences, like the true crime type stuff, even that kind of drama, or celebrity drama, things like that. That's not this channel. Hopefully through it you'll kind of get to know the person I am and my personal beliefs, but otherwise, things like topics that right now are just kind of hot button issues, that's not what this channel is. It is just one person rambling out into the universe to give someone a resting place for their mind and for their heart, that it's a safe space. And yeah, just kind of everyday conversation. I'm an introvert by nature. I'm very happy when with my little band of people, I'll go out to dinner with a friend here and there. I do love board games, so actually that's another thing I may spend some of my recordings on, is just opening or learning a new board game and talking you through it as I learn it, because I want to learn to play, of course, but I also want to learn to be a good teacher, because it's a fantastic hobby. And there's just being an introvert, it doesn't mean that I'm shy. It just means that being around a bunch of people is not what recharges my batteries. It drains it very quickly. Even with friends that I've known for 30 years, we'll go to a holiday party. I'm almost always the first one to leave, but they also know that. So it's kind of nice. So yeah, this is something where just turn it on, just drop on in. Hopefully I'll be somewhat consistent, because I think being a bit scattered will be not it's a balance, right? I think sometimes I'll be really scattered and just chatty, like stream of consciousness. Other times I'll be talking and you'll just hear me moving around my instruction books or opening drawers as I find spices to cook, and I won't say much. But you just hopefully won't feel alone. And I think that's the most important thing any human being can have, is a sense that they're safe and they're welcome and they're wanted, but that you also have agency. You have a choice. You can turn it off if for some reason my voice reminds you of somebody that drove you crazy. If you just don't like the content, you can definitely turn it off. You can be okay with it some days, and other days it's just like, ugh, that talky, chatty person again. No. And that's okay. You show up however you want to show up. You get to choose. You're the boss. You're the boss of whether or not you listen to this channel. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else housekeeping that's important. I will try my best to read any comments, but again, no pressure, no need to read any comments or leave any comments. I'm sorry. I think sometimes community doesn't have to be big, right? It can be small. It can just be you. You get to choose who you have in your life or how you interact with them at a certain point, right? I think when you're younger, when you're a kid, when you're dependent on somebody for a roof over your head, I know, or money to survive, I know that it's too easy for me to say that you're your own person and you should feel empowered. I do want to try to pass on a lot of the wisdom and information and knowledge that I've collected along the way. I love collecting stories. There are some amazing people out there who have never been and will never be on a social media site. They will never make headlines. They won't have books or articles written about them, but they are amazing. And sometimes if I'm feeling a little, I don't know if it's nostalgic or melancholy, pensive, thoughtful, every once in a while, sometimes to sort through the things in my head, I imagine having a conversation with someone. I have a good imagination, and if it's to the point where, what is it? There was a meme or something about, oh, don't worry about me. I'm just hurting my own feelings by making up conversations in my head. The brain's amazing. The brain doesn't always know the difference between something made up and something that actually happens. So in my head, I have some people that I talk to, or a person I talk to, or ways that I talk it out to work through what I'm thinking, what I feel. what action I might take. And there's this one person that I met, gosh, is it 20 years ago? Maybe. One of those people that there was no romance, there was no dating, there was nothing like that at all. It was just somebody I had met through happenstance and saw a couple of times whenever some friends and I got together, but had one of those energies, the spirit that was just for me what was just this instant connection in terms of human to human. Somebody that I felt like I just understood and they understood me. We didn't even have very, very deep conversations, but I think maybe it was a feeling of they had little to no insecurities and they perceived people as they were, and there was no judgment or criticism or yeah, it was just, it's kind of hard to explain. But, and in my own mind, I honestly may be making things up or misremembering things. If I ever crossed paths with that person again, I don't know that they would even have the same thoughts, have the same, would share that their experience was the same if they remembered me at all. But in my head, they became this person, this, not North Star, that's a little too dramatic, just this, like a buoy, like a post, just a solid post that I could always go back to. And so in my mind, sometimes I think if I ever need to write something out or talk something out, I'd like to write to them and talk to them, even if it's something they'll never see, right? Can't even remember their last name. So, and then, anyway, so yeah, I mean, this whole channel, it was like from 8 years ago. I am an overthinker and recovering people pleaser, somebody who wants to research and practically have a degree in something before I try to do it in case it just turns out to be garbage. I'm used to be very, very hard on myself. And so, like, a lot of my ideas that internally or that I think about that I think would be a great idea never comes to fruition, never happens. I'm not the person that has the aha moments. Or, I mean, I've had them. I've had a lot of ahas, had a lot of uh-ohs and oh-nos. And like I said, after being diagnosed and going through treatment, I do see my life in terms of before and after. And not that I will ever say that cancer was a good experience, but I will say that I got whatever good there was to be had out of it. And some of that was starting to really let go of a lot of the hangups that I've had for 30 years, 40 years. I just things that just felt like ghosts that were just kind of hanging around, right? That I just couldn't get rid of. And now, to be fair, a couple years before I was diagnosed out of the blue, I had started making changes, like being more empowered, taking responsibility for myself, but myself only, trying to work on courage, little tiny things that required courage of me, accepting new opportunities, whether it's at work or just in terms of self-improvement, things I wanted to try, right? And then after, it just kind of, I felt like really some of those chains were just completely smashed and I felt lighter. And so with that, I mean, ever since then, it's just been this gauntlet of coming up against something that I was meeting my limits more and more. I remember after getting sick and during recovery, I moved. My company ended up actually closing not long after. So I moved. I was staying with family and I wasn't ready to go back to work. But a situation came up that I had to go back to work. And I was honest with them. I was like, look, I've always kind of prided myself on being really reliable as an employee, and I don't know that that's me right now. And even after being given the job, I want to say about 8 months in, I was given an opportunity to not head up a new department, but kind of develop the processes for a new position, a new team. And within 2 weeks, I tried to quit twice. And thankfully, my managers at the time were supportive in exactly the way managers really should be and gave me the resources I need. And I'm still with that company. But through that, and again, facing those times where I was like, I cannot do this, those sleepless nights, the panic, the anxiety, COVID happened. And then we did get to work from home, which honestly, had that not happened, I don't know that I'd still be at that job. I don't know that I would have coped very well. And so through that, I've also several times been given opportunities to learn and do something brand new that on one hand scared the tar out of me, but then I just did anyway, trying to acknowledge and validate my feelings and make space for them, but also do the thing that I felt like I wanted to do. The way that I judged that was if I was safe, if I was not going to do harm to myself or others, then I could at least take a step forward, knowing that I could always quit. Same thing with this channel. I know if I put this out there, I could also delete it and take it down. It doesn't scrub it from the internet forever, of course, but at least it's something I can control. And so since then, I've continued to have experiences and been surrounded by the right people to just come along and give me a boost, and just share some great feedback with me and really pour their faith into me that I just have never been able to have for myself. And not only that, but I feel like I've been surrounded by people like that for a long time. Even the people closest to me, my closest friends, I felt like reminded me the most of my sister, who despite hard things just pushed forward. Like I was stuck in an emotional Faraday cage where I just either couldn't feel anything or was just so overwhelmed by my feelings. I just was frozen for decades from really being able to do anything. I felt everything. I was self-sabotaging. I was half-heartedly doing things, super critical. And then I just had these people in my life that I realized had strengths that I wish I had. Now, whether that was complete strangers who just made a random comment that I've kind of heard the same thing once or twice a year, every year for 10 years. And I'm like, okay, fine, I get it. I need to do this thing right. Whether it was a story that I heard about some end-of-life caregivers, somehow they were interviewed, and one of the things that they shared when they were asked, what are some of the regrets that your clients, your patients will say, or talk about, one of the things was that they wish they had lived more of their life as themselves. And that really struck me. That really impacted me. Like, gosh, do I even really know who I am? And that, I think for a lot of my life, I look for that. Who am I? What's my purpose? What should I be doing? And asking these questions instead of realizing I get to be who I want to be. And I can make steps towards that. Right? Whether that's something in character or something in practice, whether it's somebody where I wanted to be courageous, I wanted to be I want to teach games well. I want to be able to sew some basic things or be able to be a good cook. I want to be a good listener, as much as this is a talking channel. The irony, I know. I wanted to be somebody that people felt safe and seen, but not in a way that made them feel on edge. And then I also thought about, my closest friends, especially one in particular who, I've known almost 20 years now, maybe. And we've been close for at least 15 of those, if not longer. We've lived together, and I watched them. They're several years younger than me, but they're tough. And they know how to get things done. Again, complete opposite of me, who was just kind of in solitary confinement mentally and felt stuck and frustrated by feeling stuck. And I would watch them just day after day, month after month, face these things, and they were so vocal about when it was hard and when they needed help, and then they just did anyway. Maybe it was because they didn't feel like they had a choice, I don't know. But even with the hard things that happened and the way they just set their sights on something and went after it, whether it was raising their daughter, getting remarried, trying to change careers, then deciding to go back to school for a master's degree, it never hardened them. Like she was still soft and open to what the world had, even while she'd say she was afraid or something was hard or she didn't like something. She still did it. And in my mind, I felt like that was just so courageous to be able to say, I'm afraid. I don't like this. I don't know what to do. But then do the steps needed to graduate with a master's degree, to have a great relationship with her kiddos, to be honestly as faithful a friend. The fact that we're not sisters now, we had to have been in a past life, or we will be in the future. I just can't imagine not having her in my life, because when I think back about the times where I've been at my weakest and most vulnerable, she was there. My sister was there, she was there, and one other friend was there. Yeah. And I know I'm lucky that way. I know that there's a lot of relationships in my life that have not worked out. I think it was all of those things combined. It's getting older, it's having been through that. I don't want to go through another year, another 2 years saying, oh, I wish I had done that before. So this is me doing it. And again, you're going to hear a lot of random things. I think I'm going to be able to put up a few videos. If I could figure out how to do it, y'all, I don't know how to do this. I don't know if I should just use a random Canva template until I can find something better. I don't know who to ask for help. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm scared to do this. But again, maybe since I'm not, I'll put hashtags in, right? Because I do want the people who are meant to find it. But I don't know anything about this. I don't know. I guess I'm going to figure it out along the way, and you guys are going to notice. Hopefully the equipment's fine. Hopefully the recording's fine this time. It's going to be completely random. I think once I get several videos out there, I'll try to do some playlists so that if you only care about the videos and cooking and food prep, or if you only care or only like the board games, just listening to that nonsense, even if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you just want to hear about random topics, if you want to suggest something, throw it out there. I'll do some research on it. And I'd like to start the rambles with a thought, with a topic, and then just see where we go from there. Honestly, one of the things I want to talk about too is how to write a basic email. And that's off the back of a pet peeve. That isn't anybody who's listening fault. but at least talk about some of the things and be that like a Gen X Genie or Gen X um, advice column or something. And I can, if you guys write about some things you've always wanted to learn, that, you know, Reddit is great. Reddit has a great community. I might even talk about some of the things I've been finding on Reddit. It's really amazing to be able to form a community online. But otherwise, yeah, that's it. I just wanted to introduce the channel. Wanted to put something out there that I can actually put up and post in the next day or so, just to say that I finally hit send, and we'll see how it goes. But otherwise, I hope you guys are safe. I hope you guys have a space where you can just for 5 minutes take to yourself and just breathe, whether it's 2 deep breaths in and 1 out, which is a great way to help some anxiety moments, by the way. I've actually tried it. And then, yeah, I hope you drop in again. Thanks for listening.